I have a motion, please. Councillor Panasic.
The council received changes to the procedural
Bylaw 07-2014 for information.
Okay, we'll go around again. Councillor Panasic.
I would prefer it to be to revert back to the way it was. Prime example again tonight is we had to call for nominations. Thankfully, Mayor Cox accepted without having to do 4 or 5 rounds of nominations before somebody did accept. As far as I'm concerned, my opinion is that it served its purpose and it really hasn't worked out in the way I think it was intended to.
Councillor Long.
For the benefit of the new councillors, I brought forward this motion, and it was discussed. I strongly felt at the time that it was a good educational tool. I still believe that. I believe that it provides other councillors an opportunity to chair meetings, to see if, because it isn't as easy as it seems, and even though we go through the motions all the time, every day when we get here, and we put forward the motion, and then we vote on it, and we discuss and do all the things, and you still make those mistakes. Did we vote on that? But it provides councillors with the opportunity to learn how to conduct a meeting. It also allows councillors who are chairing the meeting to gain insight and more respect for the person who is being in the chair, whether it's the mayor or whether it's another councillor or the deputy mayor. I believe that it creates a more civil council, and our conduct is better because we understand that it isn't as easy as it looks to chair the meeting. That being said, I agree with Donna. I don't, Councillor Danaka, insofar as I don't think it worked as well as I would have liked to have seen it. I would have liked to have seen people eager to take on the challenge, eager to do it, and get a taste for it. But there always appeared to be some hesitance and reluctance to do it, for fear of probably making a mistake and being embarrassed in front of the cameras and all that sort of stuff. And Donna's right. It served its purpose. I think it calmed things down. It provided educational opportunities for those who wanted to take it on, and now it's gone its cycle. I think it sort of lived its purpose, and yeah, I'm comfortable with it going back the way it was. That's just my own personal opinion, and I'm comfortable with whichever way the council wants to take this.
Thank you. Councillor Panasic.
I'm voting for, I feel that we should keep it in. One of the reasons that I'm thinking that is that it doesn't preclude anybody or the mayor from being the chair. We establish that every year and work on who's going to be best. So it does not matter, who and in fact, it will prevent, if there's issues, it will prevent issues, something like what's happened in Gibbons with the mayor there that was, a little crazy from what you get from those. And what's going on in Toefield, that it could prevent those things. It does not mean that we cannot, as a council, that we don't nominate the mayor. So I like this because it gives us that option. That is the key thing for it. Donna was saying that, we've had to have calls for nominations. Well, we could have calls for nominations, when the mayor is gone, that could take the same time, because there's always, people have to miss, and when you have nominations, and I think part of the issue before was people were nominating other people that really didn't want to chair the meeting, and so they were declining, and then, it took a couple of times, but it was only a minute or two to get through to people that would do that. And I do see that, there are some benefits to it if we want to get other people that experience. And it does help once you've chaired to know what the issues are and to know what the protocols are. So it can help bring it. I agree, it did help bring this council around and understanding those protocols. And it would help with future councils if they want to do it. So if we remove this off the books, it's going to remove those opportunities. So again, I think it's good to keep in there. It doesn't preclude anybody from being that person, and we can vote on it each year. What would work best for our council at that time?
Councillor Courtly.
Well, reading about this and looking at it and listening to everybody, trying to read up on some of the background of this, to me personally, looking at this and how it's been running and everything, I think a lot like Brian, where it would give each person maybe a chance to try it and do it, and it does give everybody, like I say, a chance to try. So, but like I say, it doesn't exclude the mayor from doing it. No, it doesn't. So it doesn't. It just gives everybody the right opportunity, right? So, or the same opportunity, not the right opportunity, but the same opportunity. I don't know. I think it's positive. I can't see a negative with it, unless I'm missing something. But I see it being a positive. That's my opinion.
Councillor Gilroy.
A procedural question. The chair, whoever that would be, whether it's the mayor or, as we have right now, Councillor Rose, the councils I've been on before or I've attended, that person's always had the tiebreaker vote. They really haven't had, in Alberta you don't have to do it that way.
No.
So you have an equal vote no matter what.
And everyone has to vote. You cannot abstain.
Okay.
That's why I'm always
That's
looking
quite
to see all
different
these
than what
hands.
quite different than what I've seen in the other council meetings I've been in. So that's very interesting. Believe it or not, I've been asking people in the community what they thought of this sort of question, because to me, I'm more accountable to them because they elected me, and that I should be doing what the people in the town have been asking me to do and represent them. And what I've heard a number of them say is that they believe that the person that they have chosen for mayor should be the person who leads the council, and that they should be accountable for whatever they do in there, just like each one of us ultimately should be accountable for how we act and react in here, regardless of how the stuff is. We should be accountable to the people. And so they've been saying to me that the mayor should be the person who does that. And that we probably have, the other thing they said is, it's more important for them right now to have jobs and economics than dealing with who's in charge of a meeting. So I'll just put my 2 cents in with just 2 things I've heard in the community when I've asked the community members.
And I know that most of the older councillors are well aware of my position on this. Because the chair is not the mayor, we are an outlier in municipal, urban municipalities, because no other community has a chair that is not the mayor. However, I also see that when people come in and they are confused as to who they would be addressing when they're running a meeting, when it is someone else, but the person they're looking at is the mayor with the councillors around the table. So it's confusing to people coming in to understand, well, how is this meeting being run and who's basically in charge of the meeting? You saw with Danielle, our MLA, Danielle Labrivet, that when she came, that the chair did step back and come and say to me that perhaps you should be the chair of the meeting this time, because we don't want her to be confused as to who is running this special meeting that we've called. So there is that aspect of it, the confusion of the people that we're dealing with. I also know, and I feel this strongly, that we sit on a lot of committees, councillors do. If they wish to, they would be stepping up and chairing the committees they sit on. But I don't believe any of the councillors, except for Councillor Courtley, is a chair of any of the committees. Are you on the library board? Museum. So I'm thinking the remainders have chosen not to learn more, as this is supposed to be an educational aspect, and that was how it was presented, that learning to chair a meeting is an educational. Well, you would usually start at a committee level and then move up to this portion. However, as I said, you know my feelings on this, and I don't think anybody is going to change anybody's mind by more comments. So unless someone has a question to bring forward, Councillor Panasic?
Yeah, I just want to, I guess, address some of those things, like people not chairing other committees. It's not necessarily always a choice of that councillor or councillors if they want to be that. So that's not, it's not fair to say that, in my opinion. Somebody may want to chair and not get elected into it, so that can happen, even if they do want to. And I do agree that, everybody's got to be accountable when they're on here. But I don't think that, if the mayor is not accountable or we're not accountable, it's the same thing. We just have to work it. This just makes it the best person to chair at the time would be able to chair. And if it works out, and, just like was what happened here in a case where it was identified that it might be better and not confusing in a particular meeting, you can go around and do it another way. And we've done that. And, when it works out the best ways possible. So I think it's a mistake not to keep it in, because then you don't have those options. And it's an option that's out there. It keeps the door open for us. And I like that ability. So, again, I'm still on that side of saying that, so, yeah.
Actually, the option for the changing the chair is not available as per the procedure bylaw. What occurred at MLA Danielle Labrivet's meeting was not in accordance to what our procedure bylaw says. If the chair is here, the chair chairs the meeting. Councillor Courtley?
I haven't been able to find it, and I don't know if it's in this physical bylaw or not. But what's the anniversary date of?
October.
It's October. First meeting in October every year.
Their organizational meeting.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's what. Thank you.
Okay. No other comments, no other questions? Could you read the motion? I believe it is receiving the changes for information. All in favor of proceeding for information? Opposed? The motion is defeated. Is there another motion? motion is defeated.
No, but if nobody's reading, council can have your first reading of the bylaw, if they wish to, so do so, if not, we just move on with the reading of the agenda. Or you can give it first reading and defeat the bylaw.
Well, I'm gonna give it first reading then. I move that council introduce and give first reading to bylaw 07-2016. So that is the amending of the chair, removal of the chair. Any comments, any questions? If there are none, all in favor of the first reading of bylaw 07-2016? That motion is carried. Opposed? Motion is carried. The council gives second reading to bylaw 07-2016. Comments, questions? All in favor? Opposed? That motion is carried. And I will not give third reading because we will not receive a unanimous approval. So this will have to be brought back. All right, the next item on the agenda is the special meeting. So if you have your calendars. April 5th, I believe, is the suggested time, date. April 5.
Yeah, schedule the council meeting.
Oh, you said that before.
Yeah.
Special meeting, it will deal with budget, and 7 o'clock. Is that all right with you, 7 o'clock?
That works for me.
Councillor Panasic?
I'm just wondering when we need to have this approved. My only concern right now is that it might be a little bit late that date. And I would like, if there are questions that come out of this, and we know that Herman's gone the next day, there's no chance to revamp the budget, to do anything with it. So my thinking is I'd like to see that meeting earlier, so that if we do have any issues and anything that we want to bring back, we still have Herman here to do that.
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll speak to that. I spoke with CAO Martinson. That is the first day he's back from holidays. And that's why when we talked about it, it was felt that him as CAO should be here as part of that meeting, even though the situation being what it is. That's a bad week, I know, because that's also the week we have our auditors in. But we have until basically about the end of March to pass our budget and end of May, pardon me. Thank you. But to pass the budget and to pass a mill rate bylaw, we're hoping to be fairly close to having something in front of council on the 5th that would be presentable, something that can be worked with. If not, the hiring of a new treasurer, hopefully sometime right after that, if not before. Brian will be able to get a chance to go through the applications. As you've seen in his report, they only had 3 at the time the report was prepared. There's now up to 5, I believe, is it, Nancy?
5 or 6, yeah.
5 or 6, with the potential that there's a quality one in there. So I can't speak to anything because it's going to be the CAO's decision on what he hires, or who he hires, pardon me. What was the last time he hired? But I'm hoping that what I leave him, or what we leave from that meeting, it's going to be fairly close to what council will be able to need. We've discussed the budget on numerous occasions at budget workshops. This is a special meeting, so it'll be open to the public, so we can openly discuss things. We've taken some actions on some of the stuff that we talked about in those workshops. We've addressed the utility rates. Let me straighten that out. We've addressed things such as putting money over into reserves. As last time we met, without consideration for amortization, we left with a surplus. So, the goal for me was to have a balanced budget for council. So whatever was left after we make all the adjustments, that surplus would then be turned over into either a rate stabilization reserve or capital reserve. And so that it would be a balanced budget at the end of it going forward, with the revenues from taxes coming in to support that balanced budget. The goal, again, was to not increase the amount of revenue collected for taxes. Now, we cannot control some of that, such as the amount for education tax, the lodge, the river housing, etc. So those would be separate from that. So this would be just the municipal rate that we're talking about. And then the other thing the council would have to decide at that point is, because we have now been informed that the the grants in lieu of taxes have been killed again for this upcoming year, so that will be then be taken out of the budget. Last year, I believe it was in the budget when we went forward. So that'll be taken out of the budget numbers. So it'll be council's decision, how do we then make up for that? Is there gonna be cuts? Or is those taxes required, that we required last year to say we needed that money to run the municipality, that we then share that amongst all the ratepayers? As this is a burden that was downloaded to us by the provincial government, if that's the way it's taken. But
Do we have a motion?
Not yet.
If we get a motion then on this date. Councillor Danaka?
The council approved the date of April 5th, 2016 to hold a special meeting of council to pass the 2016 operating and capital budget.
Okay, the budget, of course, is a living document, so even if it is passed, we can still make changes.
amendments to it, and if I
Amendments to
could
it.
just ask
Yep.
Councillor Danaka to make it friendly, to present and potentially pass.
So you want present in there?
To present and potentially pass, because we haven't done a public presentation of the budget. We're not just gonna take the budget and say, here it is, and then I'll take a vote and walk out of here. We're gonna discuss that, so we have to make a presentation to council. We have not, at this point at all, presented anything on the capital budget. And there's gonna be things, I don't know if we can pass, or we can pass it, but subject to some things that have yet to be decided. We haven't heard anything from the provincial government on our MSI capital, on our MSI operating firm. We haven't decided, or we haven't heard yet what the county's doing with their $1 million towards our capital.
Well, then why would we want to potentially pass it? Why wouldn't we just present it?
And if council decides that they're good with that, if we could present it and incorporate the numbers, I don't know, if we don't want to pass it, that's fine, but then you'll have to have something fairly close to ready for presentation, going forward. You can present it and then amend it after. If they come along, should the government come along and decide that they are not going to give us, let's say, operating for MSI, and they make that public, then that's $88,000 we'd have to find one way or the other, again, through cuts or through taxation. The county, they've already discussed it. I'm not sure when their next meeting, where they're finally gonna make the decision on how to deal with their $1 million.
500,000, it's not $1 million.
Well, the total that you have to deal with, 500 with us, but, so should that come back, then we'll be hopefully able to adjust our capital budget for that. But I took a look at the document we have with the county, and it says that they will provide up to $1 million per year.
Yes, Mr. Walker?
As far as the capital budget, what Herman and I have been talking about is passing a capital budget subject to the funding being in place, various funding levels of government, in the MD and everything. It's to get something on paper so we have something to work with. That's because right.
We're gonna go with present and potentially pass. Are you all right with that? So could you amend that as a friendly amendment? And April 5th is the date, and there's no point discussing it further because you're going to be discussing it on April 5th. All in
I
favor?
think it's important to see.
Hold on
Yes,
here.
Councillor.
I'd still like to see perhaps meeting earlier, even though Brian's not here. I understand that, but I just know how every budget that we've done has taken more than one meeting to just go, yep, okay, we're, go through it and finalize it. And we might be there because we have looked at it. We have gone through it. But I would be more comfortable having one more look at it while we still have Herman here to make any changes, because on the 6th, if we decide that we're not making any change, or we want some changes, you won't be here to do it, and that leaves a little bit more difficult of a situation. So that's, I just think that that could cause a problem more for Brian than not being here for the budget meeting, is having to make all of those changes and bring them back into that document. So that's where I'm at.
Mr. Walker?
Perhaps we could have one more budget workshop next week where people can talk about things and then present it on the 5th.
Okay,
Counselor Gilroy?
Actually, Vern just stole my thunder. I was thinking, along with Brian, that if we could have it so that there are really, I hate saying it this way, no surprises for when our CAO comes back. I think I'd feel more comfortable having a little more exposure to it.
Okay. CAO?
thank you.
Acting?
Acting CEO and treasurer. Okay,
Treasurer.
just want to advise council, tomorrow's my last day this week, then I'm heading out. I will not be back to work until the Tuesday. Next week, I'm preparing for the auditors that are coming in the following week as well. And that still is not completed yet. We're still working on trying to get some things straightened around with our software providers. They're trying to make corrections, chasing them down. So to have any kind of document in front of council to look at regarding the budget, if we do it, it'll have to be very late next week. I hate to say that, but Thursday, Friday, maybe a weekend. But
Okay. Is Counselor Rose around? Does anybody know when she returns?
Yes, she's back after the Easter weekend, so let
That's
me
coming
just see here. When is that? I'm just trying to.
Easter weekend is the 27th.
this coming weekend.
Yeah. Oh, she's back on
I have to know Good Friday. Easter.
on the 31st. She's back on October 31st.
October. She's going to be
I'm looking
disqualified
at-
there as missing
Yeah,
a week.
yeah. I'm looking at my calendar and I've got OCT, or just because the word has been abbreviated in there.
You have OCT?
But, yeah. Yeah, yeah, I have that too. But, yeah, the 31st.
So that leaves the 31st and the 1st. I'm not here, Mr. Walker.
There is a bylaw review meeting on the 31st.
A bylaw review meeting. So that takes that day gone. Now you're talking about Friday.
Friday.
So
April
I,
Fool's Day. Somebody
I,
want we want to challenge the gods.
We can make all the
That's-
mistakes we want.
It's not
Friday the 1st is only 3 days from
The other
Tuesday the 5th. Any other comments?
And pardon me, that weekend I'm moving. So I cannot. That Friday night I'll be picking up a truck.
Okay.
That Saturday, I'm sorry.
Counselor
So, during
Gilroy?
the daytime,
We'll
yes.
have you Skype it in. No. Well, if the weekend's out, then there's no dates left.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, but I just remembered, and if I do not mention that, I know I'm going to be in trouble with the real boss.
All right then, April 5th. All in favor?
I'll
Motion
try
is
and get
carried.
I'll try and get the packages out to everybody as soon as I have it ready.
Is
So
there a way that we can have you afterward if we have one last thing, unofficially?
what to add to the budget?
No,
No.
you give us advice if there's any final questions that Brian can answer.
Okay.
The word's probably no.
No.
Mr. Walker?
As far as I know, there's really nothing that has changed as the what was already passed in the interim budget. So there's nothing really earth shattering other than the assessment, right? No.
No, it's what we've talked about in the workshops, just to maybe put council's mind at ease. I don't know if I want to put this one cat out of the bag or not. I have made arrangements with my new employer that between now and the end of May that I could possibly come back for a day, 2 days or whatever to provide assistance to the town under contract. So it would be, not out of the kindness of my heart, so not like one treasurer who came back and helped out and then walked out with nothing. There would be an expectation there for remuneration, travel. I'll probably still be staying in my house because I'm going to be coming back here and doing flooring in there for the tenant that I'm going to get moving in there at the end of May, end of April. So that is a potential there if the treasurer's out of place, and that may not be a bad thing if they do have somebody in place that maybe even spend a couple of days with him, to work through, go forward.
You're not gonna sell them your house?
Huh?
You're not gonna sell them your house?
I got a tenant already lined up. He's coming in the 1st of May.
Okay, we know where you're at, we have your cell phone number. Make sure you turn your.
I gotta
cell
change
phone
that to a
in.
780 number. I'm not so sure if they like that as my business card to read a 403 number.
Okay, next item is the
yeah.
addendum. Councillor Gilroy?
Oh, the addendum, sorry, I was gonna go with
And this is an advocacy letter to, it's a letter to be sent to the provincial government to lobby for the grant in lieu of taxes for the social housing and the senior citizens self-contained units.
So you want the second, right?
Yep.
Okay. Me, right? Okay. I'll make the motion that council approve the materials for advocacy from AUMA and direct administration to draw up the letter to the minister and the local newspaper ad and have ready for the mayor or deputy mayor to sign and be sent out, and to advertise this issue on our town website and on social media. Omit sections if applicable.
I don't know, what do you want to do on this?
I put that section in there so that if you decided not to spend the extra money to advertise the thing in the newspaper, just put it out on the website, on the front window, give the letter to, maybe not purposely embarrass our MLA too much, but at the same time, it's getting the point out there, that's where the letters are going. So, and again, the value of putting it in an ad in the paper, and does it get read? Well, yeah, it does get read, as we found out, because of the railroad ties.
Well, I don't know if we're putting an ad in.
Yeah, and that's,
And I myself would stop with the letter, draw up a letter for the minister.
ready for the mayor or deputy mayor
Yeah,
to sign.
to sign.
That's good with.
I'll take whatever friendly amendment you want to put in there.
Okay, so we're going to go with the letter to the minister for the mayor or deputy mayor to sign. And I think that's it. Do we want a message to our ratepayers at this point? Because we really don't know, you know, they might
We could
stay.
take a copy of that, we could take a copy of the letter once it's signed, and we could post it up on our town Facebook page and on the town website, so that anybody who does view those documents can then see what we're doing on behalf of them. So,
Yeah, they're not going to change. I mean, we've had the minister that's responsible for that here and said, this is not changing this year. So I think we're pretty confident it's not changing.
I think their budget's
on
set.
the part- Yeah, that part of it's not changing.
but the thing is it's not just our letter going in there, this will be a letter from every municipality.
Yeah.
That basically is supporting the issue, which I would imagine anybody's got social housing involved.
Is supporting.
It's a pile of letters.
I think the.
Bottom.
Go ahead. I think the purpose of this is to get get the people who voted for the local MLA though to keep track, especially if in the end we have to do something about that extra money we're losing. You don't want to suddenly spring it on them without them having a chance to make their voice known. So maybe there'd be some way that the ratepayers can say, you know what, we want something more than what you're offering us, and the power of the Albertans as opposed to strictly just the municipalities. So at least to give them a chance to have their voice heard, and then if we have to do something to recoup that money, at least we're not suddenly springing it upon the people. They have a chance to at least feel like they've done something.
One more issue, maybe we could also issue a media release, both the newspaper and the radio station, and maybe they could issue it as a newspaper story or news story
I was gonna
related
say,
to this.
that would probably be more,
Yeah.
that would probably be more cost effective, is to actually go down and do an interview with the radio station and the
Yeah,
newspaper.
We'll do the media release first and then follow it up.
Yeah,
with
if you
the
could
interviews. Yeah.
give me some talking points, I could go and say something. I don't wanna inflame our ratepayers too much against social housing though, because that is gonna be something that,
No, you would be blaming them against the government, what they've done to us, as opposed to social housing.
okay, it's a fine line there.
If, I guess the message is they downloaded the responsibility for it to the municipality.
Yes, definitely, and that's what they have done. I will say at the Northern Alberta Mayors and Reeves Caucus, this was brought up, and the whole room did tell the Premier there that this was a big hit, grant in lieu of taxes being taken away. At the AAMDC meeting, it was brought up again. This one is an issue that has not gone away, so I think it's a crapshoot which way it's gonna go on that budget. I know they keep saying no, but,
Especially in light of the federal government just did their budget today by announcing a whole bunch of new money for social housing. And I don't know how they're gonna,
Justify.
maybe any place but Alberta, but.
well, they've
Hate
already
to say
got
that.
quite a few people that are, groups of people, like farmers are not happy, oil is not happy, now you wanna make municipalities not happy?
Welcome to everyone. I do Bob Ray.
All right, any other comments, any questions? We're going to draft up the letter with the figures in, and either myself or the deputy mayor will sign. When the deputy mayor is,
Need to vote on it tonight.
yes,
Yeah,
we are
so-
going to, I'm just recapping what,
Action to be
what
taken.
we're going to do.
Action to be taken.
And the CAO is going to do a news release, a media release, and once you have it, I will take
I'll let
it
you see it.
to the radio station and the newspaper, and we will get a little bit of a story on this. Okay, so all in favor? And the motion is carried. The next item is the CAO report. Moving right along here. And you can see the CAO report. Could I get a motion? Councillor Long?
The council received CEO Brian Martinson's written report and action list for information.
Any questions on it that our acting CAO can handle?
Should we change the number of applications?
No, that was as of the time it was prepared, so.
Okay. Councillor Danaka?
I'm just wondering if we received anything from the request for proposal regarding the airport. Has anybody come forward to say they could do the appraisal?
Brian,
Mr. Walker?
When I was talking with Mr. Martinson, he said there had been two people that had approached the request for proposal so far. And that's as far as I know it's gotten.
Actually, he did say he had sent out, he had talked to seven different appraisers, and of those seven, two had responded with a written proposal. So I believe he was gonna choose between the two of them, and I'm not sure if he did that before he left, but he was moving on it quickly because we needed the information soon. Any other questions? Councillor Long?
None.
Councillor Panasic?
Yeah, I was
Just wondering if we've had any action in regards to another community member at large for the airport committee. We're short one, we advertised, I don't know if we're continuing to advertise or what's happening with that member. Yes, no, yes, sorry, yes it is, sorry.
we have had nobody come forth at this time, and so we continue to advertise on the website, but I'm not sure if the newspaper's gonna do anything, so we'll just keep advertising as best we can. And if anybody on council knows somebody who may be interested in doing that, please encourage them to come forward.
Yeah, we had indicated last time that we would take somebody, even if they weren't from the town, somebody from the county that might be interested in too.
Yeah.
And we can still appoint them, but
Yeah, to date, we've received nobody, and, I'm thinking maybe somebody who's even a businessman who maybe has some interest in the airport as part of their business plan or whatever, but obviously. Pardon me?
person who owns a flight school, I've seen signs around there about flight schools.
There's nobody in town that I know of that has a pilot's license that flies. Everybody's from the county.
Yeah, that physically live outside.
Physically live outside. There's
Yeah.
nobody in town that has a pilot's license or flies out of our airport at any time that I'm aware of. Everybody is a county member, so if we can get them, that's better than nothing, but try to get somebody in there.
Do we put the remuneration on the ad?
No.
Well, maybe we should. I mean, it is $100 a meeting.
No,
It isn't?
no. Not for any of the members at large. I think that's a volunteer, I believe.
I'd have to research that.
I think you
No,
better
I
research that. I
I
thought we were
can say
paying.
on the airport committee for sure. I know that none of the
I know the
county
municipal planning
members are.
commission, we do pay for the people that go to that. So, and I suspect the airport commission.
Municipal planning, they gave out.
Oh, they're giving up?
Yeah,
They gave out
so-
forms for people to sign that were, members at large.
Yeah, I believe the town has a policy that any town members
Yeah.
sitting on any town-appointed committees.
I'll
are-
confirm that. If if it's to the contrary, I'll come back and let you know that it's a no, but I would suspect that it's for anybody on appointed committees, official committees of council.
Well, I know Craig had mentioned that he wasn't getting paid, and he mentioned it, and
Was he a
I-
town member or
He
county?
was the town member.
Oh.
Did he submit
And,
anything?
and the county, are not paying their members.
Oh,
Just-
okay.
Well, our policy is we pay.
Yeah, I'll confirm that.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm curious why Craig quit.
Craig left because he, with Secure Energy closing, he lost his job. Well, not lost his job. He took a job in Slave Lake, and he's just full-time running there. Yeah,
Makes sense. They'll probably end up moving.
they might.
Okay, any other questions regarding the CAO's report? Councillor Courtly? Councillor Gilroy?
The ongoing one, is it finished? The one, it's on page 81, regular meeting of February 23rd, 2016, 11916. What's happening with the rec board and the information? Was that just, 'cause it says that council direct administration requests them to submit an operating budget for town approval.
As far as I know, the Recreation Board is working on submitting, well, actually, no, let me think what the actual wording was.
People are watching, so.
Yeah, I think the response was, we have a budget. Oh, I remember now. The wording of the intermunicipal agreement, the Recreation Board is taking it to the intermunicipal agreement to find out when they talk about approving a budget, what do they mean by who approves the budget? Because the wording is slightly ambiguous, and to all intents and purposes, it is an understood process, but it hasn't, if you actually look at the intermunicipal, it only says an approved budget. So they're going to discuss that at the next intermunicipal meeting. And the next intermunicipal meeting is not, probably will not be called until we have the appraisal from the airport. So it's called, the next meeting will be called by the town, and we need a few items on the agenda to call a meeting. So the Recreation Board is one of the items. Councillor Corley, was there anything that I missed on that?
No, just the fact that we were gonna use the numbers as far as the rec board. I thought we were gonna use the numbers, put forward from their budget, just to use numbers until that point, right?
From the town's perspective, it's based on the numbers that council had passed, which was the
Yeah,
reduced
well,
number.
our numbers were council.
Ours is a reduced number.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
theirs
They're
is
the higher
their
number.
number, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
they'll
Yeah.
only get paid based on what council
Yeah.
passes, because I can't.
Yeah, but as far as an actual rec board budget, they're gonna put in the numbers that was put forward, just so they have something to start with and go by.
Because right now they have a blank column.
That's
where
right.
it says budget.
That's right.
So they show us all the expenditures, but they don't show how much is the budgeted amount? So it's hard to compare, okay, so you've spent this much, how much, is that a quarter, or is that an eighth, or is that whatever of the budget? So,
Or have to have something, Linda had asked them to at least put in those numbers, so that we have something to compare to start with. So that was.
okay, anything else? What did you find on your intermunicipal?
I just went quickly, so.
It's something you'll look up later. All right, could we then have a motion then to receive the CAO's report for information?
There's a motion.
We already have it? Vote. All in favor? It's carried. The next item is the check listing. Could we have a,
I move that council receive the check listing for council for February 18th to March 8th, 2016 for information.
and if you have any questions on the check listing, please direct them to administration. All in favor? This motion is carried. Next item is the FCSS monthly report. Could we have a motion, please? Councillor Tanaka?
The council received the February 2016 report from FCSS for information.
Any questions or comments regarding the FCSS report? Seeing none, all in favor? This is carried. The next item is the grand opening of it's an invitation for the grand opening of MP Arthur Vierson's constituency office. Could I get a motion? Councillor Panasic?
I move that council receive the invitation to attend the grand opening of Arnold Vierson's Barhead office on Friday, May 1st, 2016 for April 1st. May. For information.
It's April here, and then May down here, which is it?
Oh yeah, it says two different dates. It's May 1st on what I was reading.
The invitation is April 1st.
That's correct.
Okay, we'll change for April 1st.
Councillor Long?
So we could say we're gonna go to his open house on April 1st and not show up and go April Fools, sort of the same way he didn't attend the All Candidates Forum here when we had the election. That would be great. I love how he represents us.
It's better when he came to the office here when he was campaigning, and he said, who's the mayor here anyways?
Yeah, who's the mayor here?
He's young, he's very young.
Yeah.
Nobody likes Chinese food.
There you are. All right then, any other comments that are pertaining to this in a serious manner?
I was serious. I am not going.
Linda, did you want to go?
No,
All the way to Barhead? Wonderful place.
I go through it all the time. All in favor, receive for information. It's carried. Yes. The next item is lobbying government seminar. And it is in Edmonton. Could we have a motion, please? Councillor Courtly.
The council receives a notice of the MacEwan University's lobbying the government effectively seminar being held on April 19th, 2016 in Edmonton for information.
Comments, questions? Anyone particularly wish to go? And can give me a good reason. Seeing no Councillor Gilroy, did you have?
Can we check to see if they will have it on their website or something? You know, so we can write a letter back to them, seeing if they will put it on the website later on or something like that. So
No,
that,
they
those,
would put it on, if you were attending, then you would receive it because there's a $449 registration fee.
We'll say afterwards. It's like going to the movies and then getting the VCR later, VHS later.
Well, really, I would like to see, are they successful first?
Lobbying people to come.
All in favor of the receipt for information? It's carried. The next item is the Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Program. And Mr. Walker, could we get a motion first? Councillor Gilroy?
Okay. I make the motion that council approve the attendance of Councillor Brian. That's why I'm not rotating chair here. And Panasiak and Councillor Courtley to attend the Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Program that is being held in Fairview on March 30th, 2016.
So I assume from the actual nominations that this must have been,
Brian must have spoke to somebody, I'm not sure, Vern and I talked about this afterwards, and we both feel it's probably more of an administrative thing, since we're the ones that actually do the work on these things, but.
Well, I was,
We weren't involved in discussions,
I wasn't here last week when this came through. No.
Councillor Canassa, Councillor Courtney,
Oh.
you're elected chair, are your names spelled?
I think Brian put it because of the community airport program.
Ah. Okay. Will you be attending anyways?
This is the first I've seen of this. I did talk to Danny Jung last night
Yeah.
in Peace River, and he asked if we were attending. I said I hadn't seen anything on it because, like I said, I was away last week, and there's a possibility that I would want to be going to this. Yes.
Okay, so that would be through the CAO, you'll be
Yes.
discussing with him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
we talked about it.
Time permitting as well, because I can get the information from Danny after the fact.
okay, so this motion is to send 2 of our councillors to learn about the Strategic Transportation Infrastructure Program. So, any questions? Councillor Long?
How much is it? 425.
Well, if we were to go, I think we could save $214 by carpooling. So it wouldn't necessarily be that amount.
And driving or our own big truck.
Take a load of freight over there.
Yeah, we got, no.
It'll cost you more than that.
Yeah.
My opinion, I guess, just reading through, it was news to me when I went through the when I read about it, but reading through the actual background and intent, engagement overview, just mainly looking at the community airport program, basically funding for rehabilitation of community-owned public use airports. It basically is looks like they're going to be putting a bunch of money back into this program. So maybe it's a way of learning how to release some funds towards us. I don't know if it's something that myself and Brian should go to, but we are both on the airport committee. The Resource Road program, it might help us out. Local bridge, local municipality initiatives. I don't know, Vern, I guess, are you familiar with it? Go ahead.
Mr. Walker?
There is a maximum two participants if you read onto the RFD.
Well,
I definitely think that our public works person has to go. Councillor Gilmore?
I'm willing to have my motion amended to whoever you think is the appropriate people. I just thought that this has already been done here, but if you feel that, if council feels that more appropriate people, make a friendly amendment. I'm happy with it.
Mr. Walker would be going anyways as the public works person.
Yeah.
So if we're only allowed the 2, I would suggest that one of the 2 councillors, your choice as to who wants to
We
go.
can flip a coin at that date.
I have not a burning desire to go, so if you'd like to go, it's all yours. It's all yours.
Well, you two can decide, and we will make the motion that one counselor be designated to go, and the choice will be between Brian and, or whatever. Okay. Brian.
And we could probably save some additional money.
We'll
by-
just say whatever can go.
We could probably save some additional funding by using a municipal vehicle.
Yep,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
That takes the mileage up completely.
If
No, I think that is a decision that has to be made by the counselor. I'm not forcing any counselor to drive with someone else if it doesn't fit the parameters of how they want to get there and back again
Yeah.
and how they wanted to do it. So if they choose to carpool, fine. If they don't, that's fine too.
I would just like to caution council that if I'm available to go, I do have to check my schedule.
So the possibility exists for both counselors to be going,
Yes.
so.
Can we read?
How do you wanna just go right ahead?
Well, just include, I guess we could reread it saying either, both counselors or Vernon, or a combination of two.
The two people. Well,
You don't even have to mention
Two
Mr. Walker.
representatives.
Just,
two representatives.
put in the original motion, and if one drops out, fine.
Yep.
Okay? They know one has to drop out if
Yeah.
Mr. Walker decides to go.
It's up to Vernon, he can go, great.
So there you are. We're going with the original motion. All in favor? It's carried. So it rests on you to organize them.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, now we'll move to the reports, and you have my written report. I move my report for information if there are no questions. I kind of miss Quentin because he would have liked this book. All in favor? Receiving for information, carried. Next item, Councillor Danaka.
That's my report in front of you. Any questions?
Questions? Done? Move for information?
Report for information.
All in favor? It's carried. Next item, Councillor Gilroy.
Okay, as one of the counselors that attended the TOCO meeting, and I was very disappointed with what happened there, and I will put it on public record. I really believe that we as a council need to contact the regulating body and tell them we do not approve of the renewal. They kept it very quiet that the renewal was for 20 years, starting 2017. And when quizzed whether or not they were going to open, they said we might open at the end of 2017, but they didn't say anything about what would happen if they got their, if it would change their mind if they got the renewal in the woodlot. All they said was, without the renewal, the property is worthless. They also stated that they would not sell to any interested people, but they would rent it out to those that fit into their business plan. And so I was very much disappointed there, and would have liked to seen, or would like to see council at a later meeting draft that letter, or ask admin to draft that letter, and also to ask for some sort of woodlot audit to make sure that the rumors I've been hearing about excessive wood leaving that woodlot and going to other locations be investigated by the government before they consider renewing for 20 years, because I don't want to saddle our constituency here with 20 more years of manana, later. Okay. I also visited Little Smoky, the Little Smoky Ski Hill. I was surprised because the day I went, all the roads were mud. And when I got there, suddenly there was this gleam of white there. They did have a video for us to look at, and it was good for me to go in the sense that I got to meet with quite a few of the, I got to meet with with the leaders of Greenview, and of course the Big Lakes County rep and Smoky River. So got to meet with a lot of people there that were involved. Found out that we were the Big Lakes County, including High Prairie, was the #1 people. They, on their website, they have a new video, and they also have, they will be sending us a ticket sales thing like this. This is last year's, at the end of this year. And instead of even offering any financial assistance from our council, I gave business advice on how they could make more money themselves by utilizing their land and resources out there. And so they took that in and were very appreciative of that. So I was there for a couple hours. And no, I did not do the tubing like some of the older people, because they were older people who did it. But it was good, and I got to meet with some of the High Prairie people who are employed there. So that was good contact, that they saw that our council was involved. But I did not offer any extra finances there. But they did have one thing I was telling a couple of councillors about. They did a wonderful form of advertising that I'd consider us using through Cisco Systems. They have all their water bottles for 15 cents. They actually put a picture label with their website and their name on it, on all the bottle. So instead of having, Dasani or whatever on it, it would actually, if we did it for next year or something like that, we could actually have it for Town of High Prairie. Or in their case, I said, maybe you could support one of the groups here, bring your water over to hand it out at the hockey tournaments and stuff like that, and they would think and come back. So we just gave some advice to them on that. It was kind of a slow one, because those are the only two since the last council meeting. Because last week there was really no set ones. I did go to the Wisdom Project, but that was on my own, and that was fun. We picked up a book. Yeah. So, oh shit, they sold 150 books that day. And they also have the pictures there. I'm sure Councillor Danaka would tell you that they framed a number of people's pictures.
Yeah, there's, I think, when I went to the open house, it was packed.
Yeah. And so it was very well received there. And so I think that's.
And it was #1 on Amazon.
Yep.
Trended #1.
Yep.
#1 in
Photography.
the photography section.
Oh, kidding.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, wow.
And
Did we, the town should buy a copy.
I can mention, pass the word on to Brian.
Pass it on to Brian. Yes, we can have a counter copy. People can look at it while they're standing at the counter.
or maybe they could suggest that the museum buy one,
Wisdom
because it is a history of. Make a motion for or not make a motion, but make a suggestion that maybe the museum would like to buy a copy to keep in there, since
I'm
it
sure
is.
they did. And I'm probably sure that the library would have
So
bought
we
two
could
or three.
share it with them as a town.
Actually, Jody is doing another book sale, autograph signing, April 20 something at the library from 7 to 9.
Won't have a copy of it.
Yeah, I was gonna order it,
So
but I didn't realize it was already published. When is she doing that?
April,
25th.
pardon me?
25th.
April 25th from 7 to 9.
she's halfway through her next book.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think it's from 7 to 9.
Okay,
I'll make a motion that council receive my verbal report for information. Any last questions?
all in favor? It's carried. Councillor Long.
Watershed meetings coming up again. It always seems to fall in between. So yeah, we'll be having our watershed meeting coming up. I did attend the Wisdom Project. It was phenomenal, well attended, beautiful work. my hat's off to everybody who was involved in that. As far as Toko, if I may be so bold, when I first moved here in 2008, Toko was going to restart. And in 2009, when I was recuperating, Toko was going to restart. And 2010 and 11 and 12 and 13, Toko they're going to start. Toko has left the building, and we have West Fraser that I think we need to support wholeheartedly. They've already shown what great corporate citizens they are. And so Toko's doing fine in Slave Lake. They're doing fine in Meadow Lake. They've got their gig going on. They're not coming back here. And I think that the sooner we get our head wrapped around that, yeah, without the woodlot license, the mill's worthless. Well, you know what? The mill is worthless, period. It's worthless. It's closed. It's doing nothing for us. So thanks, Toko. But really, we don't need it. We don't. And if they come back to us, great. If they come back and they provide all kinds of opportunities of employment, it's not because of what I'm saying now. It's because it's viable. And it's not viable, and they're not coming back. And so give it up. And no, you're not getting my support at all. We need to make sure that the people who are harvesting the timber in our area are taking it to the mill that's keeping our people employed. And that's what we should be concerned about. I don't care about what Toko's doing in Slave Lake. I don't care what they're doing in Saskatchewan. I don't care what they're doing in BC, if they exist in BC. I don't know. But I know they're not coming back here anytime soon. And so, as hard as that is for some people to accept, it's time we move forward. And holding on to lot licenses and stuff is not doing us any service, and it's not doing West Fraser any good. So yes, we should be saying to the province, no, don't give it to them. That's my position on that. And again, Watershed Council meeting is coming up. I will be attending the firefighter, and I recommend everybody to purchase tickets to the firefighters ball coming up. It's $35, and it's helping a great organization that keeps your house from burning down to the ground. So why not support it? It's a wonderful event, and I'm hoping to be attending March 24th for Rachel Notley as well. So, and I'll get back to everybody on that one when I come back.
We'll give you a
So,
second.
yeah.
You're going to Fleur?
So, all the way to Falher, Alberta. I know. I got my passport. So, anyways, that's all I've got. Thank you. I move my verbal report for information.
Questions? I do have one question.
Going back to Tolko and what you said about support the mill we have here, West Fraser. I have asked West Fraser on a few occasions if there is any possibility that they would use the wood that Tolko is leaving. And they said no, they cannot use it. So, because then I would support taking it away from Tolko. But if West Fraser can't use it, then we're just who is going to use it at this point? And yet I agree with you, 20 years is a long time, and you never know what's going to happen in 20 years.
Yeah. In 20 years, the plant that is sitting vacant now will be rusted.
Yes.
And so, again, your plant is worthless to us. It's worthless. It's taking up space, and it's an eyesore, and it's going to rust out. And who's going to fix that?
Well, it is paying taxes to the county. And the other thing I have...
They'll still be paying if the building falls down.
And the other question I have is, I thought that the Tolko was sending a team in to do an assessment of how much it was going to cost to restart the plant. Okay, so in some sense then, are they not attempting to work with the situation?
It would really be nice that if they are attempting to work with the situation, and with the building and with all of it, it would have been nice had they been more open with our community, kept the dialogue going better than the silence that we've incurred for years and years and years.
Well, in saying that, I think that they have, in some sense, kept a good dialogue with our community. They have been great partners with the charity golf tournament. I mean, here's a business that does not buy anything in town, yet drops $10,000 as a title sponsor of the charity. So, and they do come about every 4, 5, 6 months through town, and they are available at any time if you want to phone them and ask them, well, what's the price of OSB? I thought that they were pretty good coming here, and of course I wasn't here, you know all that, but the county closed the meeting so that they could grill them about it. And I didn't feel that that was fair to the citizens of the town of High Prairie. Let them come out and grill the people at Tolko. I don't think many people came to ask them. And that perhaps because they've given up hope, that could be. But in saying that, I'm still torn on this. I don't like this 20-year renewal, but I also understand that they're not going to sit here in public and they're going to say, well, this is what our business plan is, because they're a business. They're not going to tell you at what point can they make money. We can make money when this is at that, and then have another mill come in and just, that's undercut them.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, I'm like I said, I'm torn on this one. Councillor Gilroy.
To answer your two questions, they did tell us at what level they will reopen it at a certain amount of money per. They did mention a number of those things. They mentioned all the good things that were happening within the economy and things like that that would spur it on. We did ask them outright the idea that they said they were putting $2 million in per year of keeping maintenance up, and yes, they're evaluating it. We asked for a time frame, and a good business would say 6 months or something like that. They avoided the question altogether. They did not want to give us any time frame that would take to just evaluate a plant that they've been keeping maintenance on for the last 8 years. So it was not exactly the kind of response we were hoping for. We were hoping for at least something positive, and any tough questions such as timeframes, they actually skirted the issue or would not answer. But they spent time on other issues about types of wood, I think.
Well, there is a problem with the wood. If you don't harvest it, it's going to rot. And then they've lost it completely. So somebody's got to go in there and cut it at some point, I believe. Is that not forestry or wood management? Somebody has got to cut that wood.
The issue too and I couldn't make that meeting with Tolko, but the initial thing to consider as well is that the renewal of their license that they want, they have a shared FMA with West Fraser. So
West Fraser gets the softwood out of their FFA.
yeah, so basically West Fraser takes what they can use, and then Tolko takes what they use out of that. Like if there's a block here and it's aspen and spruce, West Fraser will take the spruce, and then they will be responsible for the poplar or aspen or whatever you want to call it.
So I'm thinking that there's more that to understand it. You'd need a forester to come in here and actually explain how this works, and we have one right here. So, what did you think of just a minute, am I on you? Yes, I am. Councillor Panasek, please give your report.
I don't think we voted
You
on.
didn't vote? All in favor of Councillor Longs?
Thank you.
Moving on to Councillor Panasek.
and not, I mean, we can go around this, but, just with the Tulco issue in particular, yes, the wood is leaving our areas because it's the residual that's left over from the other cuts, so it's leaving. And like I talked about, I think, and I thought Brian might have done this, because we talked with Brian after the meeting, of coming up with council putting it on an agenda, so council will deal with this in a way that we all agree, because I think we have different,
What I just suggested.
I think we have different opinions on whether or not we should. I don't believe that Tulco has been really bad with what they are doing. I think it is business. If they could make money off of that, they would be in there. They need the price to be higher. It has been low. You look at the price in other mills around the country, and they are not opening their doors left, right, and center. It is a tight market. But with that said, we do have this very specific point in time with this renewal of their FMA. And I think we need to use this point in time to get together with our county, and that might have been what Brian was saying, because as a group, we should be lobbying the government and forestry to not renew this unless we can get a commitment in that FMA that the wood will not leave the High Prairie area for another mill. Hence, it can't just be sent down to Slave Lake. It has to stay here. The wood is not going to rot, because it'll live for 120 years, and we'll have another plant come in here. So it's not a problem to wait. For another 20 years, that's not a problem. The wood is still going to be there. So I think what we need to do is get together with the county, figure out how to lobby the government, and get them to make a commitment to not sign anything with Tulco unless the wood has to stay here. Then I would be all right, because I think they've been a good corporate partner. They've been contributing to our community, and I just don't think the time is right. But I think it is close. Like right now, we're as close as we've ever been in the last 20 years to reopening. So with the dollar down to 76 cents or whatever, it's prime time. But anyways, that's my thoughts on it, and I don't know what. Yeah. What I've been up to is I did attend the speech from the throne. Yeah, drove down to Edmonton, watched that, drove back. It was a lot of pomp and circumstance, but it was interesting. I wouldn't say particularly valuable, but you listen to them and they're all puffed up and saying their things. But it was good too afterwards. Everybody was in the foyer of the provincial building, and you get to talk to some of the ministers and everybody there. So that was the valuable part, if there was some of that networking. And also I attended the Heart River Housing meeting. They had their board meeting on the 17th, and key points out of that is, number one is on May 11th, Heart River Housing has a meeting with the Minister of Seniors and Housing, that Lori Sigurdson, and we're putting together a plan on what we want to bring to her. But the key things is the GILT, or grant in lieu of taxes, and also our proposal that we've come up with already is how we can solve that problem. If you can't turn around and give us that money, here's how you can work in a way that's sustainable and isn't going to cost you guys money in the long run. And that's, selling those units off, putting that money into a better facility that can be maintained, cheaper to run, and we can still keep, and we can tax it then, because we would put some commercial properties in there and stuff like that. So we do have that meeting planned. I don't know what will come out of it, but at least we can bring it forward. And the other big thing that came out of that meeting that you might get some heat over is the Heart River Housing made all of their lodges non-smoking. So, so that will include the Pleasant View Lodge along with the other ones. So there will be there's about 6 smokers in the lodge that will not be happy, but there's probably 45 of them that will be quite happy. We didn't want to continue. We were trying to grandfather it in, but there was getting to be a lot of complaints because some of the smokers that were there were not closing their door. And the smoke was coming out and it was polluting everybody's air.
You sure it wasn't going to the hospital system?
Yeah. Yeah. So we just made them all non-smoking. Actually, one of theirs was already non-smoking. Valley View was already non-smoking. So that one it's not going to be a problem, but Falher and High Prairie will be a bit more of an issue, and that comes into effect April, May, I think June 1st. So they got,
Some vacancies then.
there just might be some vacancies. They're also going to create some, covered areas where they can go outside and smoke, particularly in the winter or if it's raining, so that they can go outside. But that's coming down. So, any questions? I move my report for information.
All in favor? Carried. Councillor Corley.
I as well was at the Tolko meeting, but I won't get into it like everybody else has here. I think everybody's beat it up tonight, so. I am for, the only thing I am gonna say, I am for them getting their FMA, but with conditions, of course. They did give us a lot of good information in that meeting. That they are actually looking at the mill, trying to figure out what it's gonna cost, and whatever cost that is, whether it's 20 million or 40 million, it's not a value that's too much in their mind, is what they said. To revamp that mill, to make it operational by the end of 17. Circumstances are, it's the same time as the renewal. So the weighing is there, right? So, but I think it's something if we have an opportunity to back them with certain circumstances, I think it's positive. It's a chance to still make a great relationship with that company, and they've stood it here right through. They've said they put 24 million into this community since they've left, in taxes and other things, which is a proven number. So I think it's worthwhile. But like I say, back them with circumstance. So that's enough about Tolko for me. One positive thing I did was we had given funds to the Bantam Provincials. So I spent quite a bit of time there this weekend. 2 reasons. Of course, I'm on the rec board and sponsor the team. So it was great. It was a great, I think our town hosted them proudly. They did a great job. Won provincials. Linda was there too. She presented. It was a great showing from our community and town and the players. They did awesome. I think it went over really well. I've heard nothing but positive. So yeah, that's all I'm gonna put forward. I move my report for information.
Questions? No, you just want to vote home, or you just vote?
Yeah, I was trying to keep it short, Donna. Sorry.
I do have one
Yeah.
comment. I wish that more of the organizations would attempt to host more activities, as in more provincial tournaments, more figure skating carnivals, more. And I think
Part of it is, it is such a heavy
Undertaking.
task for the volunteers. And it's unfortunate that in some way we cannot hire the expertise to help these people when they do something like that. And I'm not really sure how you do that, because when you're looking at the women's curling in Swift Current, I think that whole thing is put on by volunteers and sponsors, and maybe that's our problem, is we don't get enough sponsorship money from businesses who are benefiting from this. So, and they take the influx of people, they make their money, but they should almost be obligated in some moral way to say, I am going to support this to the tune of $500 or $1,000 because I know I'm going to make $5,000, $10,000 or something like that. I don't know how you do it.
To kind of give you some background on that, I know this year for fact there was 2 or 3 other tournaments through minor hockey that were organized or that were started to organize here. But due to the time and with scheduling with leagues and different things going on, they couldn't get the people to come just because of other
Outside people wouldn't come into it.
outside teams wouldn't come in, so they actually had to cancel, which was really sad because anytime you can host a tournament even earlier, like they try to have them before Christmas even to certain times, so they can spread it out through the year, but it just teams aren't wanting to travel as much as times previous, right? So it's really awkward now, but I mean, we have the great facilities for it, for hosting tournaments, because we have 2 ice surfaces. The only other places that have that are the big centers, so it's awesome.
Councillor Panasic?
I'll just add a little bit to your comment about, the business community stepping up. There was, talking to some of the organizers, they were disappointed some of the businesses that benefited most or who would tend to benefit most were not willing to contribute. And then we have other ones that aren't going to see any benefits. Sunstone Energy is not going to be getting money as a result, any benefits out of it, but they were sponsoring. So it is tough to get the sponsorship money. Businesses, it's tight. They're going to take what they can, and some just aren't used to putting out for that. So I don't know how you change that culture, because you could maybe if there was a bit more, but we have a great volunteer community. We got a lot of volunteers that do a ton of stuff, but you do get burnt out after a while doing thing after thing after thing.
Maybe this is an item for the Chamber's new executive to do a analysis of how much money each one of these things bring to town, and then go and tell this guy next time we do something, you're expecting this much, we expect something back.
And I think that's it. Did we vote? No. All in favor? There you are. And we are finished. 10:05.
10:05.